Hello everybody, it is Tuesday the 3rd of January. I want to talk about science, religion and cults, and also about a couple of things that are being said in the Bible, and that is, though he that leads into captivity will go into captivity, and once again the meaning of the knowledge was given to serve, not to rule over. So when we look at religion and science and cult, at those words, words that are being used a lot at the moment, cult is being used a lot. And these words are being used by many because they feel deep down there is a significance to those words. There's a truth that relates to what is going on at the moment. But then, you need to have a definition for the word to bring into awareness what it actually means and what it is you're actually seeing outside of yourself. So my definition, and I'm giving a definition to the word cult, tied to what I'm seeing in this world. And then to me, a cult is being created, first of all, by having a knowledge and restricting that knowledge to a few, and then have a figurehead. Most cults have a figurehead that would represent that knowledge. In him there's the fullness of the Godhead, so to speak. And you claim to be the authority on that knowledge, and for the most part you claim yourself to be infallible. You are the absolute. So, and if you look at it like that, organized religion has actually always been a cult from the beginning. Science is very much becoming a cult at the moment. Now, and here goes, if we look at science first, I said it has become a cult because when Fauci stood at the microphone and said, "I am science, you go up against me, you go up against science," he became that figurehead, that cult figurehead. And again, the science itself was dogma. It was a specific way of portraying this thing, and that is all, and you cannot go outside of it. And then, as I said, Fauci claiming infallibility and being all, and at that moment science became a cult. So now the problem, and this is where those in science, those that lead into captivity will go into captivity, is even though it may have started off with a knowledge, with a true knowledge, which I would say it did, most did. The moment you use that knowledge to rule over rather than to serve, and you claim infallibility, at that moment your priorities actually shift from what was maybe beforehand the pursuit of finding new knowledge, the pursuit of finding knowledge at all, to the pursuit of keeping your status, ensuring your rulership. And then it shifts from finding knowledge, and most of your energy will need to be spent going up against dissidents, anybody that challenges your position. Yeah? So, and as far as science is concerned, I mean, they've done that for a long time. Go up against dissidents that will challenge your position of infallible knowledge. But as they had to go up against people before, at the moment something else is happening, and that is that this world is changing. Nature is going through a change. And now nature itself is becoming a dissident against what they are claiming to be so. You know, people you can go up against, dissidents and, in religious terms, heretics, you know, feed them to the lion, burn them at the stake, get rid of them. Going up against nature that is now proving you wrong, that's a different thing, and they're actually trying to do that. You know, you have Angela Merkel standing in a flooded area saying, we will beat nature. We will bring nature under our control and it will do as we tell it to. Well, good luck with this. This is sliding into insanity. But I mean, again, you see them standing and proclaiming climate change is the greatest challenge humanity has ever faced. No, it is the greatest challenge you are facing. And you might know that as truth, but it is, again, in the first instant, pertaining to yourself. You know from your own stance, this is a challenge to what I have proclaimed to be truth. And here is for scientists, those that lead into captivity are in captivity because they cannot move. They cannot move without admitting that they've got something wrong, but they've claimed infallibility. So there's a problem. But as I said, if the science, on the bit of science, if that was used from the beginning with the right idea to serve, you know, and the knowledge has been given to all, and you make it very clear, which science is saying now, the real scientists are saying now, we are forever changing. We are learning new things. You know, it is natural for science to say something different after a while, because in the light of new knowledge, we need to change our stance. But a cult cannot do that. A cult cannot change its stance, because if the infallible leaders have to admit that they get something wrong, that challenges their very authority. And I said, at the moment, they're not only challenged by dissidents, they're challenged by nature itself. Which brings me to religion, which obviously is working on the same principle. But, and here's the big but, it'd be much harder for religious leaders to change. And this is what I said before, in my video before, that a spiritual teaching, a religious teaching, a spiritual teaching will change a person to its very core. It will create a being. Yeah? Where science may not, for the masses, science does not affect us that deeply, but religion does, very much so. And so even if they wanted to change now, yeah, they have a much greater resistance. Now, I've said it creates a being, and I had meant to say that in my video before, but I say it now, because I'm basing that again on something that I know in this world, that claim. Especially here in Northern Ireland, where you have still a great church-going population. And the churches here are, some of them are what they call here very staunch. So very dogmatic, extremely dogmatic. Especially one church, which is, I'm not saying which one, but it is the most dogmatic of all. And it is actually the case that if you meet a person that you've never met before, but by the way they're speaking to you and by the way they're interacting with you, you can actually tell that they are a member of that church. Because that church, honest to God, creates a certain kind of person, and they have become that person. So just by interacting with them, you can actually tell which church they're coming from, because they've become that. And that is where they have a much bigger problem. And that is where their own imprisonment, they have created the prisoners. But their own imprisonment is actually a lot harder to get out of. Because now that they have created these people in that prison of dogma, and they have become, according to the dogma, any change, and the prisoners themselves will go up against it. Not so much with science. People can move with science a lot easier. But with religion, the prisoners themselves will defend their prison because they've become that to their core. That is who they are. So an attack against dogma becomes a personal attack. So yeah, the religious leaders are actually a lot more imprisoned than the scientists are. But on a whole, every change now is going to be hard, because those that rule over need to admit that they got something wrong, or that there was something they didn't know, or that they are facing now a situation in climate change that might be greater than the science they're using. And their whole infallibility is crumbling around them. So this is the problem at the moment. But as I said, the Earth does go through changes periodically, because it is going through space, and it has been affected by different areas of space. And and we are at the moment, this awakening, I think we are really like migrating birds. Where birds at some moment, they have this feeling, we need to take off. And they do. And we have the feeling something is changing and we need to change. So change itself, for those of us that are coming into awareness, change itself, I think we know that it's necessary. It's just their change, what they propose as a change. That doesn't sit with us. Of course, what they propose as a change is purely for them to keep control, which is why it doesn't sit with us. So we have this feeling that we need to change. And every time the Earth changes, it is actually for us to give us a new knowledge. It creates a new knowledge that is actually an opportunity to expand into new knowledge, because things around us are changing. It is an opportunity. But in order to go into that opportunity, I think the period we had before, the knowledge that we gathered before, should aid us to make that transition. And for that, the dogs really have to get off the cattle's manger. And we need to get at that knowledge that they have put away because it didn't serve them. It's not part of their dogma that did serve them to rule over. So we really need to get at the cattle's manger. We need to get at that food. We need to get at that knowledge. Because if we have it, I think this transition, we already have the capability of doing that. It would be a lot easier. But, and that is on the level of science, I think it would be a lot easier. On the level of religion, because it should be a spiritual expansion as well as a scientific expansion, and on that level it's going to get extremely hard and extremely painful for a lot of people, and that is painful on a personal level because they have become. That is going further than just outside knowledge, that is you yourself. And you have those that were in dogma, that have procrastinated, really become that, written in stone, that now have to break through their inner brick wall to even get out, to expand, and that's going to be painful. But there's also the other kind that has detached from this, has taken off to infinity and beyond, and is now in blissful allness. I think they need to come back to earth and face reality, and that will also be very painful. So, yes, I think this is where we're at. We need to expand. Things are changing. We need to change. We need to expand into this new reality, into the knowledge of this new reality that we're facing through the changes that are created in the earth. We should have the knowledge that should aid us to do that. As I said, if the dogs would get off the manger. But, and in the end, here it is. They use that knowledge to rule over, not to serve. And now they are imprisoned in their own imprisonment. The only way out is really now for the masses to realize, for the prisoners to realize their own prison. And, a lot of them will not take kindly to that revelation. Anyway, I think that is where we're at. So, yes, we are in a cult. Both in science now, and most definitely in religion, we've always been in a cult. Created through dogma, and then creating one figurehead that is the entirety of the Godhead, and there's nothing beyond them. And we need to expand. We need to have the freedom to expand. We need to get out of the cults into the freedom to expand. And if we do this time around, if we make it, the knowledge should always be used in the way of it should be given to all, and it is there to serve. And we must at all times know that what we know at this moment is not all. Yeah? And if we know that, if we have that as baseline knowledge, we never know all, then it will not be an admission of weakness or of wrongdoing. If you change your mind, you are free to change your mind, because it was understood that, it's not written in stone. And then we will always be in a position where we can expand, if that was understood by all. And whoever has the knowledge is free to change his mind, and people will not put that against him, because they knew what he said before was to the best of his knowledge at that time. And he's free to change his mind and bring a new knowledge that maybe serves better or is greater, and he's free to do so without losing his status. Anyway, I leave it at that for today, and I talk to you again soon. Bye.